We start tonight with a report from the armed Mujahideen group fighting inside Iran. Ali Safavi from the Mujahideen-e-Khalq will be here to assess the current state of the Iranian studios and lecture halls. There is one group that is consistently trying to kill IRGC members from within Iran, not as a function of external territorial aggression. The MEK is the Mujahideen-e-Khalq. They execute IRGC generals and try to kill Iranian leaders. Ali Safavi, one of its members, explained that to our program.
Resistance units of the Mujahideen-e-Khalq are quite active. They have carried out many operations, some 60 over the past week. They attacked several IRGC bases. They attacked the Basij bases. They attacked some of the institutions of repression. So what this goes to tell you is that this resistance within Iran has the capacity, has the ability, and has the determination to take the fight to the IRGC.
Joining us now, a member of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, also known as the MEK, Ali Safavi. Ali, thanks so much for coming back on the program. Things change so rapidly in Iran right now. First, how is the armed resistance within Iran reacting to calls in this country for U.S. strikes on civilian infrastructure like energy grids and desalination plants?
First of all, great to be with you, Matt. The position of the Iranian resistance has been very consistent from the very beginning, that there must be utmost restraint exercised in targeting civilian infrastructure because it harms not the regime but the Iranian people. But overall, as we have said all along, that airstrikes and the kinetic action are not the answer, nor are continued engagement or attempts to reach a negotiated settlement of the conflict, although to the extent that a cessation of hostilities opens up space, political space for the Iranian people to vent their anger against this regime, that's welcome news. But at the end of the day, it is the internal element, the ground element, the Iranian people and the organized resistance that will make the difference. Just in a single day on August 9th, which marks the 38th anniversary of the 1988 massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in Iran, 90% of whom were from the MEK, the resistance unit carried out 60 operations against the IRGC, the Basij, and other repressive agencies, which goes to show the potency of the resistance. We just did an analysis of the state of Iranian society this year, 2026. There have been 4,229 different acts of protest by various sectors of Iranian society. That comes out to 352 protests every month, which goes to show the state of Iranian society today is like a powder keg, and it only needs a spark to ignite again in the form of a nationwide protest that we witnessed back in January of 2026.
Well, yes, I want to make sure, Ali, that we don't confuse volume and frequency for quality, because a sad reality is that many of the members of your organization, many of the other protesters, have been killed and slaughtered in these terrible human rights abuses by the current Iranian regime. And so I want to really drill down with you into that potency of this military resistance within Iran, and be as specific as you can, sharing with us what you believe the current military capability to be of the Mujahideen fighting against the IRGC.
Well, I think they are quite capable. They are present in every city, and they comprise every walks of life. Iranians, people in their 20s, people in their 30s, people in their 40s, all strata of Iranian society. They are very well organized, and the remarkable thing is that despite this massive wave of repression to which you alluded, the regime has been unable to stem the increasing frequency of these operations. And I'm sure you appreciate, as they say, raindrops, when they keep falling, they will turn into a storm, a tsunami. And
Yeah,
I
but
think
what's
the
falling in Iran
activity-
right now are threats of bombs, right? I mean, Iran has endured a number of bombing campaigns from the United States and Israel. The regime has survived those bombing campaigns. Your organization tried to capture and assassinate the Ayatollah. Instead, the IRGC captured or killed more than half of the MEK members involved in that operation. And so right now within Iran, is it your position that the IRGC should fear MEK assassins searching to kill them?
Well, I think the issue goes beyond just, if you will, single cases of assassinations. I think what is needed is a nationwide uprising. And yes, you're correct that obviously, and particularly in the past 2-3 years, some members of the MEK resistance units have been arrested and some have been executed. But the key point is that the number of people who are joining the ranks far exceeds the number of those who've been detained or killed by the regime. And that is what frightens the mullahs. And that is why you see now in the regime top echelon some changes in terms of, for example, the Secretary for the National Security Council of the regime, who, of course, now been appointed Mohsen Rezai, who's a veteran of the Iran-Iraq War. And basically, it seems to us, as a former commander of the paramilitary Basij, Brigadier General Mohammad Hossein Naqdi said, Mohammad Reza Naqdi, I'm sorry, that the regime is taking a war footing formation. And this is why you see, despite the MOU and basically concessions that were offered, the regime continues to carry out aggression against its neighbors.
Yeah, if I recall, you backed the MOU. It was very popular in the United States, and I wish we could return to it because it would stop threats of war crimes, like one I'm about to show you from Bill O'Reilly, who's an American political commentator. And you have been very consistent that you believe organizations like yours can cause change from within Iran. And you arm yourselves to do that. You communicate your message. You hold protests in and outside of Iran to do that. But I want to play you Bill O'Reilly's call for war crimes and get your reaction.
I would tell the Iranians living in Tehran, the capital city, get out, because we're going to wreck your infrastructure. That means water, that means power. He's got to make very difficult decisions. He didn't want to kill thousands of civilians. He told me that directly. All right, he didn't want to do it. But now there doesn't seem to be any other choice. You know, we've had enough with Japan. We had enough with Germany, and we took care of that. And we're going to have to do the same thing with Iran.
So Ali, you made a really interesting and compelling point that the Mujahideen is growing in ranks, even though you're suffering casualties, because people are coming to your cause. How many people do you think will go to the cause of the IRGC and the regime if the world is shown images of children in Iran dying from dehydration because Americans struck water plants, as Bill O'Reilly suggested?
Yeah. Well, let me first make a point about what Bill said. I think there's a world of difference between Japan in World War II than Iran in 2026. No less than 94% of Iranians are opposed to this regime. And they are not supporting the mullahs. They haven't rallied around the flag. Some of the scenes you see in the streets
so you
at
don't
night,
think killing civilians is a good strategy?
Well, why should the civilians be killed when they oppose this regime? In fact, the regime needs war, needs conflict to prevent people from coming out.
So I've only got a little bit of time left, Ali, but to pin you down on that, so if the people are against the regime and America did what Bill O'Reilly wanted and killed thousands of civilians in horrific ways by causing them to die of dehydration with no water, that could strengthen the regime, right? Doesn't that play right into the regime's hands?
Well, I think any action that would allow the regime the pretext to continue its suppression of the Iranian people would be counterproductive, which is why Mrs. Rajavi has said time and again that it is time for the international community to lend recognition to the organized opposition, to specifically support the resistance units, to say publicly that the resistance units, the MEK, can deploy all means available to them to overthrow this regime. And then you will see the next level of activity and operations by the Iranian resistance within Iran. Nevertheless, it's a tough struggle to topple a well-entrenched regime that has been in power for 48 years. But I think you can judge from the actions of this regime that for them, the ultimate existential threat is the internal element, the organized opposition, and of course the Iranian people in general.
It's always what brings down despots. It is people in the country who fight for and win their own freedom. Ali Safavi, member of the Mujahideen Khalq, also known as the National Council of Resistance of Iran, thank you for joining us and sharing your views.
My pleasure, my pleasure.